There's my little garden gnome. That's Ivy. You met her in the last video. These are Tiny Tim tomato seeds that just got planted 2 days ago. So they haven't sprouted yet. They're on a heat mat with a little dome over them. And this little bad boy right here is a Tiny Tim tomato that did sprout and is doing great and is under the grow lights right now. You are in my brand new, newly established, not at all organized, work in progress growing room. This is a room in my basement that just was not being used, and a kitchen rack that I watched a Gary Pilarchik video from the Rusted Garden, and all of a sudden it dawned on me that his grow lights were hanging from a rack identical to mine. So I was like, oh, what a great idea. So I repurposed this and brought it down here to establish some grow lights. I'm still building the lighting system in here. It's still very rudimentary. And because I'm going to do some winter sowing for the first time this year, it means that I don't have to have all my grow lights in place until I get to like pepper starting stage closer to February. Welcome to Leah's Leaves. Good to see you. This is a new channel. This is only my second video. I decided to use YouTube as a tool for keeping myself accountable during my gardening experience in 2021, to share what I learned the last few years living in a home where I had space to garden, which I hadn't done for a long time, and to learn from you and to share other YouTube or online resources that I've already found that may be new to you and will help you in your growing as well. Plus the inspiration that comes from seeing what other people are doing and generating ideas and all that business. So today we're talking about seeds because it's December 31st and tomorrow 2021 starts, and 2021 means a new gardening season. And because as I said in the last video, I'm going to try winter sowing for the first time. In my zone, I grow in Virginia zone 6B. There are some cold hardy plants that I can begin winter sowing in milk jugs in mid to late January. So that's just 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away that I can begin that process. I'm saving the jugs. I don't use a lot of plastic in my house, but my friends are saving milk jugs and water jugs for me, pop bottles, and anything that's clear or translucent that will let light in but also keep heat out and function as a mini greenhouse. So we're going to go through seeds today. We're going to we won't look at all my seeds. My seed collection is obscene. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And in 2020 in particular, I invested in seed, but also invested a lot of time in learning about seed saving so that this initial investment is really the only one I'll have to make and I can start saving my seeds. In fact, I've already done that. And as we go through the list today, you'll hear some of those things. So I have a notebook here. I've been taking notes about what's going where. I also wanted to show you that I created this seed inventory. I just used Microsoft Word because I don't do spreadsheets and whatnot. And then I just use their sorting function. I have everything categorized. So there's all the beans, all the broccolis, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, carrot. They're in alphabetical order. I know what's a brassica, what's a root vegetable, so I didn't have to, categorize them that way. You certainly could. Herbs, flowers, lettuces, greens, and melons, root crops, or, fruits, cukes, and zooks. And of course, peppers and tomatoes, my very favorite. So I have been referencing this list so that I didn't have to dig through my seed boxes and find every single packet of seeds that I already know that I have while I'm doing my garden planning. But again, this is for me to tell you my intentions in the hopes that you will light a fire under me to stick with this plan or make adjustments to it if necessary. The sooner the better. It is an ambitious plan. I have no illusions about that. I know that, especially the winter sowing, I thought to myself, well, let me just start with 10 milk jugs, because I've never done this before, so 10 milk jugs. But then I have 12 milk jugs, so I was like, okay, well, I can find 2 more plants. And then I went through my seeds and started learning about what I can winter sow here in my zone. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I need 25 jugs. And now I think I'm up to 28. I gotta stop at some point. It's going crazy. So what we're gonna do is talk about what I think I can winter sow here in zone 6B and break it down by when that's probably a good time to start. And of course, this is my first time, so everything I know about this is purely theoretical at this point. It's just research so far, but I have no practical experience. So if you do, and you have tried these plants in a similar growing condition as mine and learned the hard way that they can be planted earlier, or I should wait a month or something like that, please leave a comment and teach me. I'm willing to learn. In general, all winter sowing is, and I'll put a couple of links in the description to help you navigate this. If you've never heard of it before, it's just allowing perennials, hardy annuals, and generally cold tolerant plants to get a head start on the growing season. And you create a miniature or micro greenhouse environment by planting the seeds in about 4 inches of soil inside a clear or translucent container that will allow light in. And then you let nature run its course. And you keep the lid off. And when it rains, they'll get a little water. And when it snows, snow will go on. And when the snow melts, they'll get a little more water. When the temperatures drop, they'll remain dormant. When the spring comes and they heat up a little, the ambient temperature heats up a little bit, the seeds will get their normal natural signal. It is time to germinate, and they will come alive at just the right time, all on their own. The benefit of winter sowing is that you don't need grow lights. You don't need to take up space in your house. You don't need to harden off the plants after they've become seedlings before you transplant them into the ground, because they've already done that. So it's efficient, it's time saving. For me, it's great because I'm keeping plastics out of the recycling center or the trash, and I'm repurposing those. I like that. And I like the fact that I can winter sow in January and February outside in the milk jugs, so that in February and March, when I begin my peppers, eggplants, tomatoes, and melons, and beans, my warm loving plants, I'll have the space under my grow lights to do those, and those lights won't be occupied by lettuces, cabbage, brassicas and peas, and some of the hardier herbs. Those will all be outside in the milk jugs, and when they're healthy and the soil is warm enough, they'll be transplanted into the ground or the raised bed, wherever they're going. What you're hearing is my cat's tail is stuck to bubble wrap. She's walking around with a sheet of bubble wrap attached to her. What a dork. Let me get her loose. Come here, buddy. Let's get that. There you go. There you go. She was sleeping on the seed mat. You love the plant room. Like too much. Hi, buddy. Okay. All right, here we go. So this is what I'm considering winter sowing In January, I can start spinach. I'm gonna do Bloomsdale spinach from M.I. Gardner. Oh, I meant to do that. Hang tight with me just for a minute. I wanna pull out these seed packets from time to time and show you the company that I'm using, because I feature a lot of different, I got stuff from different places. I like to support the different businesses, and this might be too long with one hand, but anyway, here we go. So like these are M.I. Gardner seeds. I grew this last year. It was great, and I still have some. The packet came with 150 seeds. I think I planted 5, so I have plenty left. And they've been kept in a cool, dark, dry place, so they should be fine. So I'm gonna plant Bloomsdale spinach that I got from M.I. Gardner, and rainbow chard that I also got from him. That's Luke Marion, by the way, and if you have never seen his channel, go and look, because he's a wonderful teacher. He's been on YouTube for years, and he teaches wonderful tutorials and breaks everything down really simple. Some broad-leaved sage. I got that from Little Shop of Seeds. Here we go. Little Shop of Seeds, if you don't know this company, you need to check them out. This is all you get in a package. It's a simple label with the name of the plant and a generous portion of seeds for 55 cents. The shipping rates are wonderful. You can order a bunch of 55-cent seeds. And I have to tell you a story about their customer service. I ordered some seeds and the wrong thing came. I had ordered these sage seeds and they accidentally sent me bib lettuce instead. So I shot an email to the company and said, could you send me the sage seeds and let me know what to do with the bib lettuce or where to send it back. I got a prompt reply with a sincere apology. Sorry, our bad, oops. And don't worry about the seeds, just keep them and we'll get your sage to you right away. The next day, the envelope was in the mail. And when I opened the envelope, it was not just 1 pack. They sent me 2 of the broad-leaved sage. So now I have a lifetime supply of sage, and I can share these with other people. And plus the bib lettuce that they let me keep for 55 cents. Their customer service was fantastic, and they were really nice to work with, and their prices you can't beat. So they're fantastic. They're very generous. What they're doing is you get on the internet and do your own research about how to grow whatever it is. That way they don't have fancy packaging. So everything they're saving on by just using really simple economical packaging is a savings they pass on to you. I'm gonna use plant 2 different kinds of peas, and neither of them are here for me to show you. They're in transit right now. Like so many other things here, on December 31st, 2020, the United States Postal Service is experiencing nationwide backlog, and so I'm waiting for these to arrive. They're late coming, but I trust and believe that they will get here in time for me to plant them in my milk jugs. I have early frosty seeds from Dollar Seeds and Little Marvel heirloom seed from Gary Pilarczyk at the Rusted Garden. He grows in Maryland Zone 7, so it's not very different from my growing conditions. I've bought seeds from him before. They germinate terrifically, and I've seen his peas growing on his gardening channel. They're very healthy, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna plant 2 kinds of onions. One is a bunching onion. What container would they be in? They might be over here. Are they? Well, I'm gonna do some Tokyo Long. I can't find it. I moved them. The Tokyo Long white bunching onions, I got those from Botanical Interests, who have the prettiest seed packages in the world. And Walla Walla onion from seed, not from sets, that I ordered from Everwild Farms. They're also not here yet for me to show you. I'm going to try red burgundy onion also that I ordered from M.I. Gardner, also not here, late in transit. And then 2 leafy greens. I'm growing 2 kinds of kale. One is Tuscan lacinato, the dinosaur kale. And I ordered those seeds from the Alliance of Native Seed Keepers. I recommend that company, the Alliance of Native Seed Keepers. These are indigenous growers who sell heirloom quality seeds, and the proceeds from the sales benefit cultural awareness and preserving the native lifestyle. So they're a terrific company to support. And so I got my lacinato kale from them. It's in transit. And also some dwarf curly blue kale that came from Botanical Interest. I bought this, I feel like I bought this, yeah. This is that. Yeah, I finally have something to show you. So this is standard curly blue kale. It's what you see in the grocery store. I grew this last year in 3 places. I did it in the top of a pallet, in a horizontal pallet, a vertical pallet, a horizontal pallet, and in ground. And the in ground did the best, but the pallets did okay too. So I was able to pick off of this, and it lasted so long. It's really good. If you just keep harvesting off the bottom and let the new shoots come up the top, it lasts for months. Very healthy plant. So I'm gonna be using this again. That's January. So that's what I'm gonna start with in January. And I'm gonna wait until like between the 15th and 21st, so get halfway to 3/4 of the way through the month to start this and give them a good head start. Now, this is when we go to some other of my favorite things. For this, I need this container. I can start with the herbs. In February then, with more milk jugs. So that's 10, by the way. 10 milk jugs kind of designated there. Here are the next 15, 16, 17. Badger Flame beets. They're not here yet. I ordered them from Row 7, which I learned about from the City Stead. That's also where I learned about Little Shop of Seeds. He's a YouTuber who's great. He's doing urban gardening, and he's the one who recommended Row 7. Row 7 gardens, preserves seeds, grows produce, and cooks it at a restaurant. So it's like farm to table, literally. And they were a little bit expensive because they didn't have other things in stock that I wanted. I just wanted the Badger Flame beets. So I paid like $3 or $3.50 for the Badger Flame, plus $3 or more for the shipping. I'm hoping they are the best beets I've ever eaten so that I can justify spending $7 on a pack of seeds. And I hope that the seed packet is generous and that I get a lot of beets out of it. Baker Creek, Bull's Bloods, beets, and St. Clair heirloom early tall top wonders. Have you found St. Clair's seeds yet? I thoroughly love them. The packets are very simple. St. Clair, they all look the same, and their website is stclairseeds.com. The reason this appealed to me is because St. Clair of Assisi is a hero of mine, and I have a cat named after her. And then I found the seed company named after her. I was like, well, that's cute. I'm going to go order from them. No rationale at all. But what they've sent me so far and what I've planted so far, I've been really impressed with. So I can recommend those with a clean conscience. Here's the early. And what their packet has some cute little artwork on it. And then on the back, there's a sticker that will give you some basic information. But you really need to do a little more research. Like, this is a beet. So they'll give you general information about beets generally. But if you're growing a particular variety, you're going to want to do a little more research into, what works, what doesn't work. So I'm going to grow those early top. This year I grew cilantro. I saved millions of seeds, millions of them. It was prolific and tasty. I did 2 crops because we had a really hot spell early in June. It hit 90 something degrees, like 97 degrees for a couple of days in June, which is unusual. And all my early cilantro bolted. So I had to start a new crop for the fall. But I saved seeds from all the plants, and I have tons of them. So I don't need ever again, to buy cilantro seeds. I'm also using those cilantro seeds in seed swaps and letting other people have them. We'll talk about seed swap in another video. Fantastic idea. I'm gonna plant basil, two kinds, lime, which I bought from Urban Leaf, which I got on Amazon, and sweet Italian basil, which I saved seeds from last year. So that's mine. I'm planting two kinds of radicchio, which I love. In general, I'm not a super fan of leaf lettuces. I grow a lot of leaf lettuces. I don't love them. I'll eat a salad with leafy lettuces if it's mixed in with something sturdier. So a romaine lettuce is great. Cabbages are great. Spinach I'm down with totally. Arugula I love. Mustard I love. There's something about lettuce. Maybe it's just too like thin and watery, or I don't know if it's a texture thing or if it's like a bland flavor. So I don't mind it mixed in with other things, but I don't grow a ton of it. But I do grow a ton of other kinds of greens and cabbages. So radicchio is on the menu. I don't have any of these to show you, but I'm growing Rouge de Verona from the Alliance of Native Seed Keepers and Palo Rosa, or Paya Rosa. I think it's an Italian plant, so it's probably Palo Rosa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I ordered those from Dollar Seeds. They're on the way. I'm gonna grow this Kyoto barrelhead cabbage. It's a Chinese cabbage that I got in an Amazon last year, sort of a Victory Garden kit of seeds. And I grew some this year and it was really good and it did very well. Arugula, wasabi arugula. You'll hear the word wasabi show up frequently in my videos because it's spicy and I like it. If it's hot and spicy, I'm destined to love it. That's just the way it is. So, oh yeah, this is the chimicide. But here it is. Oh, it's just beautiful. Baker Creek, wasabi arugula. I've already seeded some of this under my grow lights now to just get a head start on it, or maybe eat it as, I didn't grow it properly as microgreens. I did plant it to grow, but I will most definitely eat all of it. So no problem there. This one, Shijimisai. This is new from Baker Creek. It's a tasty, stunning new superfood. This is their description, with 4 times as much vitamin A as carrots. It's a cross between tatsoi and komatsuna. Light Savoy leaves have a velvety mouthfeel and lightly umami flavor. They're both heat and cold tolerant, suitable to grow year-round in most growing zones. Everything about that made it sound like looked like part kale, part spinach, part bok choy. I love bok choy. I grow a lot of bok choy. And it's a beautiful plant, long stems, beautiful rounded leaves, and I'm very excited to try this. I've never had this before. Gonna try that for the first time. I'm doing mustard green wave. I got that from True Leaf Market. True Leaf Market, I found them on the internet as Mountain Valley Seed Company, and I learned about them from a different YouTuber, and I can't remember who. But when you go online and find them, they've been bought by or partnered with True Leaf Market. So that's where you actually go to get the seeds. So the packet has Mountain Valley Seed Company on it, but it came from True Leaf Market. And they have very good information on the back of the packet. This is a 2-gram packet of Green Wave mustard. I'm very excited to try mustard. Like I said, I like spicy things. Spinach, another kind of spinach. This is the Laviwa. This was from Botanical Interest also. I bought this last year and it didn't take off for me very well. But I think I planted it too late and it was too warm. So I'm trying this through the winter sowing method this year to see if I have better success. This came from Botanical Interest. There's a rutabaga called Yellow Navone. I'm waiting for that to come. I got that from Baker Creek. I've never grown a rutabaga. I don't even know if I've eaten a rutabaga. Thanks to Jess and Jeremiah from Roots and Refuge Farm, who just raves about rutabagas. I thought, that does sound like something I would enjoy. I like versatile vegetables. It sounds like something that can be fried or boiled or mashed or roasted or baked, and functions a lot like potatoes, but a little bit different. So I'm going to give it a try, and I'm going to use Winter Sowing to try it. As far as the choys, I'm doing bok choy Shanghai Jing, which I got from Asian Garden to Table. I love these people. They are some of my favorite YouTubers. Asian Garden to Table. It's a family of 4. There's an American husband and an Asian wife, and she teaches gardening practices. She grows Asian vegetables. She saves seeds from her crops. She teaches cooking, like how to prepare them in authentic ways. And they do a lot as a family, and they work together as a team in a business. And so I bought some seeds from their seed shop last year. Everything I've gotten from them had high germination rates, great flavor. So I'm going to continue, but I still have seeds left from last year's order. But if you want to check them out, they're Asian Garden and then the number 2 Table. Asian Garden number 2 Table. So I recommend them. Their channel is cool. And I'm growing purple lady bok choy. It's in an envelope because the seed packet ripped, but it's purple. It's gorgeous. Now mine grew rather small, and then it was started to get warm and bolt. So I had to pick it younger than I would have liked. I would have liked it to be a little more mature. So again, I'm hoping to get a head start on that because of the winter sowing method, and have more vigorous, mature purple lady bok choy this year. We'll see. So that's what I can plant in January in my 25 milk jugs, except if you were counting, there were actually 26 plants. There might be more, who knows. But anyway, that's what I'm hoping to start. And the beautiful thing is, if you take a look at my last video, which was my first video, you'll see this nasty patch of wild looking terrain on the south side of my house, covered in Bermuda grass. That's actually where I'm going to put these milk jugs. I even did a fun thing. Do I have it here? It's over there. I bought shiny reflective red duct tape for taping my milk jugs so that they're pretty, so that my poor man's greenhouses in the yard have some color when the snow is down and when everything around it is dead or dormant. So that's where I can put all that. I can spread them out, and frankly, I have the room. The question is, do I have the space to plant all this stuff once it germinates, if it's successful? I should mention, because I can't remember if I mentioned it in the last video. I think I did. I'm a pastor, but I'm only 3/4 time. And I'm a musician on the side. I write music and record contemporary Christian music, and I play piano and sing. And with COVID, a lot of my gigs got canceled. And so I lost income in 2020, and it was a real tight year. And there's no, it's going to be several months into 2021, maybe not to the end of 2021, before musicians in the gig economy like me begin having more playing opportunities. So what I want to do is supplement my income with seed starts, because I have so many wonderful seeds. I have interesting seeds, and I have a lot of them. So I can start seeds economically under my grow lights or using this winter sowing method. That's what I'm really hoping all of this will yield a good result. If the winter sowing methods work, then I can oversow inside the jugs, get my little seedlings, and then transplant them out and up pot them and sell those later in the early spring to local gardeners and recoup some of the money I've invested in my growing, but also probably make a little bit on the side. That's what I'm hoping to be able to market some of this. So I'm winter sowing partly out of curiosity, but partly with an end in mind, and that is to have a business out of this. Indoors or winter sowing, depending on space and depending on how the winter sowing is going at that point, sometime between late January and early February, that's when I can grow a lot of my herbs, leeks, lettuces, and bush variety early growing tomatoes. Tiny Tim tomatoes, I'm already growing a few of those indoors, and those are just compact dwarf bush style variety determinate tomatoes that produce slightly larger than average cherry sized tomatoes. They're great for container growing and raised beds and just compact space. I'm trying those because they can extend my growing season. I can have determinate variety early in the season with Manitoba tomatoes that I got from M.I. Gardner and with the Tiny Tim tomatoes that I got from Seeds Now, and then have my indeterminate tomatoes growing for the rest of the season outdoors in the ground in their normal spot. Herbs, I have German chamomile from Seeds and Such, chamomile. You say potato, I say potato. I grew up in Western PA, so we say chamomile. I don't care if it's right or not. It's what I say. German chamomile, lemon balm. I bought that from Everwild Farms. It's not here yet. It's in transit, like everything else in my life. Some common thyme. I grew this last year, so I'm just using up a seed packet that I bought from Fairy Morse. Summer savory and sweet marjoram. I have some sweet marjoram that's wintering over right now very well, but I would like to try some from seed for the purposes of selling it. But I'll replant what I had outside that I brought inside for the winter. I bought both of the savory and the marjoram from the Alliance of Native Seed Keepers. Russian tarragon. I'm very excited about this. I love tarragon. I sort of maybe discovered it, rather recently. Here's the chamomile. This is what a Seeds and Such package looks like. The tarragon came from True Leaf Market, so that's the Mountain Valley Seed Company. That's their label. I'm going to plant some American flag leeks that I got from Gary Pilarczyk at the Rusted Garden. They haven't arrived yet. I'm going to plant some Florence fennel. Fennel is something else that I've discovered in my kitchen in the last few years. I love it. Love it. I like licorice flavor, but it's not a strong licorice flavor. And I don't love celery. Celery is not actually a vegetable that I like very much. Fennel has the texture of celery, but not the flavor. So I actually really like it. And I found a salad, thin sliced fennel, thinly sliced onion, mandarin orange pieces, tossed in a balsamic vinaigrette. Or you could do thinly sliced apples if you don't have oranges. Anyway, it's delicious. Some fresh herbs on there, like marjoram is great. Anyway, so I'm a fan of fennel, so I'm going to try to grow some of that. I bought that from Seed Mail Seed Company. I want to tell you about this. This is a Black woman-owned business in Florida. I learned about her from Stead in the City. And I learned about Stead in the City because she was a guest on Roots and Refuge Farms YouTube channel to see how everything connects. But anyway, I was very excited to support a Black woman-owned business. I will say that her turnaround time is very poor. And she's a one-woman show, and she's got, she manages all of her own inventory and her website and everything. So I give her a lot of grace because she's got a lot to do to run her business. But don't order from her if you need it quickly. But order from her if you have the time. Her prices are great. Her selection is great. You're supporting a Black woman-owned business, which is a great thing. And her website is very user-friendly, and her packaging looks adorable and all that stuff. I'm looking forward to receiving my order and hoping that it comes soon. But I got a few things from her, and one of them is this fennel that I'm going to grow. I'm going to go ahead and grow the Boston Bib lettuce that Little Shop of Seeds accidentally sent me because they sent me free seeds. So I'm like, well, what the heck? I'll just shoot it. So in a milk jug, I'm going to start 4 of those, maybe 5. And then when they're about yay big, and I can pop the top off, I can transplant those in ground and give them more room to grow their full head, because that's a bushy head lettuce with like really pretty leaves. I don't know if I'll actually eat it, but I'll grow it. And then I already mentioned Manitoba. Manitoba is an early growing variety that was engineered is the wrong word. It's adapted to Canadian climates. So it's a Canadian heirloom. If you are in a lower growing zone, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, zone 6A, I'm in 6B. I'm going to start these winter sown and have an early crop. But anyway, that your growing zone like this would be great for you. Another one that I decided not to grow this year, but I can recommend because I grew it last year, is the same thing. It's a bush style tomato, so it's determinate. It's an early season variety, and it's called Glacier. And it's the same. The maturity time, 55 days. So you can start these indoors in the late winter, early spring, give them 8 weeks inside under lights, transplant them out 2 weeks after your last frost. And in a couple more weeks, you'll have wonderful, plump, beautiful, tasty tomatoes. I don't eat raw tomatoes. I think they taste like the dirt they grow in. But I cook with them, and I love things made with tomatoes. So I make my own salsa, I make my own soups, I use it as a base in different kinds of vegetable soups and so forth. And I live with a mother who loves them raw, and she eats them on her sandwiches and stuff. This is the Seeds Now. This is what a packet of seeds from Seeds Now looks like. So they're also very simple packaging. The plastic comes just like the like Little Shop of Seeds, these little plastic. The nice thing is that keeps moisture out, so they stay dry. I know some people aren't crazy about using plastic, but if you want to preserve your seeds a long time and not risk them getting damp and molding, it's kind of the way to go. With Seeds Now, they have terrific variety on their website, and they tell you the germination rates. Like this one, days to sprout, 7 to 14 days, germination percentage, 85%. They have a lot date. They have a date when the germination tests were run. The only downside is there are 15 seeds in this package. And with an 85% germination rate, I'm going to overplant to, 85% is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not much seed. So if you're going for quantity, I wouldn't order from Seeds Now. There are other companies that put more in for about the same cost, probably, if you can find the variety that you're looking for. That's what I can grow in late January, early February, either inside or in my milk jugs. I'm gonna try the jugs, because the more space I can save in the seed starting area, that's a win. And I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna catalog everything. I keep good journal notes. I have a garden journal from the Rusted Garden, Gary Pilarchik's website. The Rusted Garden, gardening from seed to harvest, a garden wants to give. And it's a cute little journal. I document everything I do in my garden in here. So I'll keep good records about what works with the winter sowing. And even if things don't work this year, I'll probably try them one more year, because who knows if, so far this December, It's been unusually cold. We've already had a significant snowfall, which never happens. We have very mild winters here in the Shenandoah Valley. And this year we've already had like four inches of snow. We have freezing rain coming tonight. We've had 6 nights in a row in the 20s, so hard freeze for a long time. That just doesn't happen around here very much. So I may be looking at just a freak weird winter that won't tell me what's really normal and what to expect unless I do it a couple of times. I'm almost done, so thanks for hanging with me. If you're still watching the video, I want to share the peppers. Peppers are my thing. Hotter the better. I love spice. And the warm weather plants that I can start indoors. My goal is that all of these cold crops, herbs, everything I've named so far, the greens, leafy greens, the brassicas, can all be outside in those jugs, growing and saving space for me in here so that I can start pepper starts and tomato starts. I am going to plant one kind of eggplant. I'm not crazy about eggplant, but I like to eat it just every once in a while. So I'm only going to plant 2 eggplants. If I get 3 or 4 eggplants off of it, I'll be happy. That's all I need. My bride eggplants, those are the beautiful, long, slender Asian variety that have purple stripes, like purple and white stripes. I got those seeds from Asian Garden to Table. I'm planting those. They can come out in mid-March, along with some beans. I'm growing Gold Rush yellow bush beans. Those are yellow wax beans, but a bushing habit. And Ford Hook lima beans. I love the bigger, more substantial lima beans, not the baby ones. So I'm growing Ford Hook 242 limas that I got from St. Clair's. Those are also a bushing habit. I do use a lot of vertical gardening, but I have a lot of indeterminate tomato plants. So that's a lot of my trellises and T-posts and tall things. I also grow a lot of cucumbers, which I'll talk about in a second. So anyway, I'm saving. I'll do more bush varieties of beans this year than I usually would. I'm doing 2 kinds of cherry tomatoes. One is Gold Nugget. I got that from St. Clair's. And one is the Sweetheart cherry tomato from Baker Creek. Gold Nugget is a yellow cherry tomato. And then the Sweethearts are kind of standard red. Then I'm growing some interesting tomato varieties. This makes me happy. I have to switch boxes here for a second. If you're interested why I keep switching boxes, it's because this container has all my fruiting vegetables. Tomatoes, peppers, corn, peas, beans, radishes, carrots, beets, kohlrabi, Brussels sprouts, okra, onion. Oh, here's the onions I was talking about earlier that I couldn't find. They were in the other thing. That's in this box. And then in the cardboard box I was holding, the shoe box, is all leafy greens, herbs, and flowers. So these are things I can plant in mid-March indoors under my seed growing lights, which gives me time to continue developing my lighting system and working out the bugs there, and also invest in a few more shop lights. So those 2 cherry tomatoes. Then let me just pull the whole wad out here so I can grab at things. Super, super, super. Number 1, cream sausage tomato. It's a determinate paste tomato. So I like that because I'll get it all in one crop and can preserve it some way. This looks like it would make an excellent salsa. Salsa verde is also be good just to freeze and use later. I don't know if you know that you can freeze whole tomatoes. If you just cut the top off and core the bottom, and like core it and score it, they say, and put it in a freezer bag in the freezer, they're perfectly preserved for when you want to cook with them later. Golden Jubilee. These are All-America Select Winter from the 1940s. It's an heirloom variety. I bought these last year from I don't remember. And I grew them and I saved seeds from them, and they were my most prolific indeterminate tomato variety, and they were fantastic. So I'm definitely growing these again. Oh, here are the sweetheart tomato, the cherry tomato that I told you about. Aren't they pretty? They have marble, blue, scarlet, and gold. Just a standard cherry shape and size. These are San Marzano seeds that my friend Larry, he's my neighbor, and he grew some in his garden, and he shared plants with me. It was singularly, without a doubt, my most prolific plant I've ever had of any variety. That thing produced Romas, or San Marzanos, which are like Roma style tomatoes. So the oblong, narrow, great for cooking, sauces, paste, tomato. This thing produced, I think I was still picking tomatoes off of it, ripe ones and green ones, on November 8th. Because I went out, we were having cold weather that night, and I went out and picked, I'm not lying when I say probably like 12 to 15 tomatoes off that plant to rescue them from the cold. They were fantastic. So I'm growing that again, 100%. Super excited about that. This is the golden nugget. That's the little golden cherry. I'm planting, I already showed you the Manitoba. Okay, I'm decided not to do any more Romas because I have so many seeds saved from my other one from this year. But the other tomatoes are not here yet for me to show you. But it is a Rutgers slicer. Those are big, beefy, heirloom tomato. I ordered those from Papa's Garden Supply. I think they're in Tennessee. Not too far from here. I only live a couple hours from Tennessee. I got Rutgers tomato seeds from him. They haven't arrived yet. And then I just love this. You got to look this up. I wish I had it to show you right now. It is Schmeig stew stuff. Let me spell that for you. SCHIMMEIG. That's one word. Stew, STOO, stuff, STUFF. From True Love Seeds. It is a stuffing tomato. It's shaped like a bell pepper that you can core and fill with all kinds of goodies, rice or veggies or ground beef or whatever you want to put in there. Stick it under the broiler. It's like a really meaty tomato that has very few seeds inside. It doesn't have all the gel sacks in it. And you just cut and core the center out of it and can, that's what it's like designed to do. It's amazing. And it's a beautiful fruit. So I'm really excited to grow that. And I just love the name, Schmeig stew stuff. So of course I'm gonna grow that because it's weird. All right, let's talk peppers. Peppers. These I can sow in late February here. They need a little bit more of a head start than the tomatoes, eggplants, beans, and other things. Peppers take a long time to start. You gotta be patient with your peppers, but they're totally worth it. I'm so excited about this. I just love to talk about peppers. Okay. I have my definites and then I have my maybes. So let me start with my definites. I am definitely growing golden Marconi. These are a sweet pepper. Got these from Botanical Interests. Never tried these before. They look beautiful. And I needed a little bit more sweet pepper in my life just to offset all of the heat that I'm going to have. I'm going to grow orange spice jalapenos. I'm also wintering over a very healthy, prolific jalapeno plant that I grew last year from a seedling that I bought at a nursery. And it was just like an early jalapeno. It was nothing special, just a standard green jalapeno. But man, that plant just kept producing like nuts. And I only had one. I wish I had bought 5 of them. I use a lot of jalapenos around here. So I'm gonna keep that alive, working at that. So far so good. They're over here under the grow lights. And then the orange spice jalapeno, I'm gonna give that a shot. I'm gonna grow, I don't have it here to show you, but I ordered Brazilian starfish pepper from Baker Creek. It is a hot, super hot, extra. I've never grown those, but Kang Star is a YouTuber. He grows a lot of hot peppers, and he featured them in one of his videos, and I looked at that, and I got on the internet to find out where I could buy some, and Baker Creek had them, so I went ahead and ordered some of those. Kang is KHANGSTARR. He's a terrific YouTuber. I would recommend him. I'm definitely growing my regular cayenne. I use a lot of cayenne, and I'm growing more of these. Last year I grew a cayenne plant, and it was very healthy. I grew it from seed in the ground. I didn't start it early. It took a while to get started, and then it turned out really well. But we had, as many of you probably experienced in 2019, we had freezing temperatures on Mother's Day, like 2 weeks after our last frost date, and we had late cold temperatures on Mother's Day, early cold temperatures before the growing season for the peppers was really done. So none of my peppers reached full maturity. I had to pick all of them young and use them before so I got nothing but green cayenne peppers this year. I didn't get a single red pepper because the cold came too early. I'm going to give these a head start this year in the hopes of extending the season and getting mature cayennes. I am also wintering over a cayenne to use. I made the mistake of there's a local nursery. It was their last day being open for the season, so they had a discount table, and they had a like 6-pack of Hungarian yellow wax peppers. So I went ahead and bought them because they were $2, and they were healthy and already several inches tall. Came home, planted them. Like a week later, my neighbor comes by and says, I have some tomatoes and peppers for you. He didn't tell me what kind they were. Turns out they were Hungarian hot wax peppers as well. So I ended up with a flippin' enormous boatload of these Hungarian wax peppers. I was freezing these things nonstop. None of them grew to really be ripe and hot. We had to pick them all young because of the cold temperatures. They have a 70-day, they're edible in 70 days, but they take even longer than that in good temperatures to really reach their proper heat. So I can't even call them a hot pepper. If you pick them young, they're not a hot pepper, they're just a sweet pepper. So if you don't like spicy peppers, but you like prolific plants and to pick them and they grow more, then you could go with the Hungarian wax pepper and it won't burn your mouth, but it will produce a lot of food for you. Anyway, I saved seeds and saved seeds and saved seeds and saved seeds. I brought them all in, stuck them on the windowsill, let them ripen indoors, and saved a ton of seeds. So I'm only going to plant one, but I can plant a bunch of these and sell them in my little seed shop. I'm wintering over a sweet pepper that did pretty well for me this year. That's not true. It did very well for me. But again, I only had one, so I'm going to plant seeds from it. These are orange habanero. I'm going to grow an habanero pepper. I did last year, but it was in one of those hanging baskets, and it didn't have as much sun as it needed. So these are just going straight into the ground. I mean, I'll start them indoors, but plant them out into the sunny spot. Those are from St. Clair's. Early jalapenos. Then these are the maybes. I might, if I have space, plant these. These are another kind of sweet pepper. They're a great grilling pepper. These are from M.I. Gardner, red Corno de Toro pepper. So if I have the space for these, I will grow some. And then the other pepper I'm excited about, two. Serrano, chilies, if I have the time, or the space, I mean. With habaneros, cayennes, chilies, and jalapenos. I might not need the serranos, but I like serranos, so we'll see. That. I bought these last year. They're packed for 2020, but I didn't plant them because I got them too late to start them indoors. And I'm glad I didn't plant them because I would have lost them. By the time the seeds arrived, it was just too late. So I held on to these in the hopes of growing some this year. These are just bell peppers. They're a Polish variety, sugary, sweet when ripe, blocky, thick-walled orange fruit, crisp, juicy, and they can reach up to a half a pound. I'm very excited about that. Those are the peppers I'm trying. And again, can winter sow later, like end of February, or if I have my lights set up in time, start them inside under the grow lights. And then the last little bit, these I'll wait until early April because they don't need long. They only need like 4 weeks, maybe mid-April even. They don't need much time to get started before they can be established outside. Black Beauty zucchini. I got those from my gardener last year. Wonderful plant. Prolific. I grew my zucchini late last year. It was sort of an afterthought. My cucumbers had finally gone, and I grew my cucumbers inside a kiddie pool up a teepee trellis. And so all of a sudden there was no vertical interest, and it was just kind of bland, and the landscape was bland, and I thought, I need something green. So my idea was, well, I'll just stick some zucchini seeds in here, and even if I don't get any zucchini, I'll at least get the leaves, and it'll be a pretty plant. Well, I got zucchini. I got 6 zucchini growing in September and October. I picked zucchini in October in Virginia. So I'll plant them at the proper time this year. I'll get a full harvest off of those zucchini. Planting the seeds that I saved last year from National Pickling and Straight 8. And both of those I got just as seed starts at my local nursery. And they were prolific. And I saved seeds from both of those. I'm going to plant those. And they're both heirloom, so they will grow true to type. And then the other thing that I got last year, it did okay at first, and then it got some sort of vine borer issue, and so it conked out before it really had fully produced fruit. But it was a healthy plant up until then, and I just missed it. I missed it. So I'll be more vigilant this year now that I know that it's an issue. But it is the cucamelons. This is a picture. Mexican sour gherkin. I planted 2 vines from Park Seeds, and they did not germinate. And I'm not going to bash Park Seeds because I bought other seeds from Park Seeds at the same time, and they did phenomenally. But the cucamelon seeds I got from Park Seeds, I have them right here. They didn't do anything for me. Okay, so I ordered new ones from Baker Creek, and I think part of the issue was, again, they came late. Like, these really should have been in the ground a week or even 2 weeks earlier. They take a long time to get started. It's like 2 weeks to germinate and then a while to grow. They don't produce fruit right away, but when they do, it's really tasty. So I ended up, these from Baker Creek. This year, I went ahead and got another pack. Seeds and Such also had them. And I'm going to try all 3. I'm going to seed start the Park Seeds, the Baker Creek, and the Seeds and Such. Because I want a lot of these. And I have the perfect place for them to trellis up, and numerous plants can grow together. They have plenty of room to grow. They get plenty of sun. They're right by my hose, so really easy to keep properly watered. I really want a good crop of these, so I'm going to work at figuring out which seeds grow best and give it another shot. I'm not giving up on Mexican sour gherkins yet. Those excite me. I have a cantaloupe that I planted last year. Where is it? Oh, it might be in the other container. Anyway, it is, I won't take time to look for it. It's Minnesota Midget. And holy dang, these things were so amazing. The best cantaloupe I've ever eaten. The vine was beautiful, healthy. I never had not one pest issue, not a single pest problem. Beautiful, handheld, compact fruits. Tons of seeds inside, but densely packed. It wasn't filled with seeds, as in, not having enough flesh. Really juicy, really sweet, easy to tell when it was ripe. In fact, one of them, I was growing it up a teepee trellis, just up a slight incline in between my young raspberry plants. And one of them just fell down and rolled off. And I had been looking at it every day because I was like, any day now it's going to be ripe and ready to pick. I walk out one day and it's not there. And I was like, oh, who took my cantaloupe? It had already picked itself. It had fallen and rolled down, and it was literally right in front of where I was standing. I just hadn't looked far enough down, and it was perfect. It was the most perfect cantaloupe. Perfectly shaped, perfectly flavored, so easy to grow, totally low maintenance. That was an afterthought. I had this space. The raspberries are producing this year, but they weren't going to produce fruit in 2020. And so I just had empty space between the raspberry bushes. I thought, oh, let me stick some seeds in the ground. I didn't amend the soil or anything before I did that. I just dug a hole and stuck some seeds in. Best cantaloupes I've ever had in my life. So I saved seeds from those. I'll be growing those again. Highly recommend Minnesota Midget. I planted Benny Kadima watermelon. Those I got from Baker Creek. Not impressed. I haven't left a review on Baker Creek yet. They are nothing but seeds. It's skin and then a little bit of flesh and then millions of seeds. I wasn't expecting that. So I am not going to grow those again. Instead, I'm going to grow sugar baby watermelons, which I bought from Botanical Interests instead. So I'm going to try those. I may try a Benny Kadima one more time. I did save seeds from the last one that grew. I only had 3 or 4 fruits, and they're small. They're meant to be personal size watermelons, but they weren't great. They're a pretty plant. They're very pretty. And I grew those vertically. And so they added vertical interest, and the leaves are beautiful. So it's a beautiful plant, but I wasn't impressed with the fruit that it produces. Other growers like Callie Kim is a YouTuber that I watch. She grows sugar baby watermelons and recommends those. Here are the Minnesota Midget cantaloupe that I just mentioned. I got those from Botanical Interest and saved my own seeds from those, so that's what I'll be growing. And then this is the Benny Kadima, but I didn't have that experience. They average 2 to 3 pounds. Mine might have been 12 ounces, so not even a full pound. Loaded with seeds. So these are the sugar babies that I'm going to grow instead. We'll give it a shot. And last but not least, okra. I grew red burgundy okra last year, and it was a beautiful, healthy, tasty plant that I put in the ground 3 weeks too late. And the cold wiped it out. We had early cold. So I did not get a full growing season out of it. I learned a valuable lesson about that. So I will be growing the same okra from the same seed packet this year. I also invested a little in a packet of seeds for heavy hitter okra from Baker Creek. And that's a green okra, like a standard okra, but a more prolific plant. and hardy in my climate if I get it in the ground at the right time. That was really just for space. It was sort of an afterthought. I was getting into summer. I was thinking about fall gardening. I was also looking through my seeds saying, well, counting days and thinking, well, maybe I could get a crop if I started right now and give it good soil and good fertilizer. And if the weather cooperates, maybe I'll get a crop. Well, I got like 6 okra off my plant and then it died because of the cold weather. So that was a fail on my part, but I'll get it out early because the plant itself is beautiful and the blooms are gorgeous. If you watched my first video, you would have seen a very bare looking, undeveloped front landscape at the house I'm living in right now. I inherited a hodgepodge of plants. None of them match. Most were not native to the area. No one had lived here for a year, so they had not been tamed. Multiple kinds of ground cover sort of mixed together, no real cohesion there. Different types of plants that weren't really compatible, and nothing that bloomed for any length of time. There were like red hot pokers, they only bloomed for a week. And there's some bush I can't identify that blooms for a week, just white flowers, and then they disappear, and then it looks like a straggly mess the rest of the year. So I called my local town office and asked them if there were any restrictions here in Luray, Virginia, about growing edible plants as landscaping, and they said no. Some places there are, you'd have to check. But around here it's okay as long as they don't encroach on the sidewalks or public throughways. And so my landscaping this year was high bush blueberries and kale and rainbow chard and some of these stupid Hungarian wax peppers that I couldn't find a place to stick them. And the Roma tomato that was given to me, or the San Marzano, that I just needed a spot, and so I just stuck it in a bare spot in front of my house, and they grew wild. They were crazy, prolific, wonderful plants. I had cilantro and basil. I had Thai basil in the front of the house and sweet basil in the back of the house because they will cross-pollinate, so I was trying to keep them away from each other. And the okra was a kind of an afterthought. And the okra was the prettiest plant in my front yard. The rainbow chard, full size, big. Full size with all those pretty colors in the stems and the beautiful rich dark green of the leaves, and then the okra plant with their beautiful blooms. So yeah, it was a great place to grow okra. I just need to put it in the ground in time. Anyway, leave a comment below if you are interested in any of the seeds I showed and would like to know more. If you are trying winter sowing, if you've done winter sowing and can give me some tips and advice, if you have other seed companies to recommend, and I didn't name all the seed companies where I've purchased seeds, these are just the ones that I know I want to try for this particular growing season. But there are so many good ones out there. Cheap seeds, you have to Google that. It's a legit, it's like a website where you can get bulk seeds if you have large growing spaces. Dollar seed, every packet is $1, flat rate, $3 shipping on all orders. It's fantastic. Little Shop of Seeds, 55 cents a pack, very affordable shipping and handling. M.I. Gardner, he did have to raise his prices. He used to have 99-cent packs of seeds. Now they've gone up to $2, but $2 for the amount of seeds that they put in there, totally worth it. Baker Creek, you pay a little more for the seeds, but you pay nothing for shipping. Whether you order 1 pack of seeds or 100, you get them shipped to you for free. So there's, you save in the end. Botanical Interest, their packaging is so informative. Inside, you got to look inside the package. It's not just outside, it's inside too. Recipes and all kinds of good stuff they hide in the packages. Seed Mail Seed Co., Black woman-owned business. Alliance of Native Seed Keepers. you're supporting indigenous culture by purchasing seeds from them. On and on. Anyway, and the normal ones, kind of the big box store. I have seeds from Livingston and American Seed. I got those at Dollar General for like 4 for $1. And Fairy Morse, Burpee, Gurneys. You'll find those at your big box stores for very affordable. I get a lot of my herb seeds from there. They're not fancy varieties. They're just the plain ordinary varieties, but they're affordable. And they will grow food. So that's a win. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for following along. And I will look forward to seeing you in another video. God bless.